Last time we installed this application WordPress 3 and we installed it in a Docker container. It is still running up to days. It was created 2 days ago, and let me try to access it from the browser. We finished the installation last time. Today we will continue with installing another WordPress application, and we will install it again with Docker, Docker containers. Now let's create another directory for this application, like this one. And we also need to create a database and a database user for this application. And we are actually we are going to use the same MariaDB container. We are not going to use another database container. Just we'll create another database in the existing MariaDB container. So we have this database container, which is the MariaDB container. And we are going to use the same database container for this application. But here there is a script that initializes the database init. Initializing the database means creating the database itself and the user that is going to access this database. So here we have a couple of variables: database name, database user, database password. And this is the name of the container that we will access to create this database. The name of the container is db1. And now I am defining this variable like an alias. We are going to run the command MariaDB inside this container, which is db1, and we will run it with docker exec. Docker exec is executing one command inside the container. The command is this one, and the container is this one, and this is for interactive. This option is for interactive. Now we are using this variable here, and we are piping something. We are piping something to this command, to MariaDB. And what we are piping is the output of the command cut. And the cut is displaying these lines. So this is a here document, and this is the input that goes to the command cut. And the command cut is sending it to the output. And from the output, it is piped to the command T, and the command T is sending it to this command, and also it is sending it to the terminal, this command, just so that we can see what commands are being executed. And the commands that are being sent to MariaDB are create database, create user, db user, and this is a wildcard, which means any host, identified by, and the database password. Then grant all on database name, all the tables of this database to this user. So we are granting all the privileges to this user on this database. And finally, flash privileges. So let's run this command. And let us check whether this command has created the database and the user. I am sending this command, show databases, through the pipe to docker exec interactive, execute inside the container db1. So this command is being sent to the command MariaDB. And the output from the command is listing the databases in this container, and we see that we also have this database WordPress 4DB that was created by the script. So the database is created. Now let's use another script to create the WordPress container. So Ctrl+Shift+V. And again, we are defining some variables related to the database host, database name, database user, database password. Then create this directory www that will be mounted inside the container. And then docker create is going to create a container with name WordPress 4. The host name inside the container will be WordPress 4. This container will be connected to the network WordPress net. We created this network last time, and we connected to this network the database container, the MariaDB container, and the other WordPress container, WordPress 3. And this is publishing the port 8084 and forwarding it to the port 80 inside the container. But this port can only be reached, can be accessed only from the local host. And if you remember, the port that was published for the previous WordPress container, WordPress 3, was 8083. Now we are using another port, 8084, because the port 8083 is already being used by some other container. It is being forwarded to that other container. And then this option mount is mounting the directory www in the current directory to the directory /var/www/html inside the container. Then we define these environment variables, WordPress DB host, WordPress DB name, WordPress DB user, WordPress DB password, and the image is WordPress, and the scripts inside this image know how to use these variables. If they are defined, then the scripts will use these environment variables to initialize the database connection, or to set up the configuration of WordPress so that it can access this database. So let's run it. It is not in the list because it is not running. So with the option -A, we are listing all the containers, and when we list all the containers, we see this container as well, which is just created but not running yet. So let us start it. Docker start WordPress 4. And now it is running. And Docker logs WordPress 4. I think that Apache is running inside this container, and so if we look again, we see that for the previous container we are using the port 8083 to forward to the port 80 inside the container. For this container, we are using the port 8084, which is forwarded to the port 80 inside the container. And now in order to access this website in this container, we need to define a reverse proxy configuration on Nginx. So let me go to the other window. I will copy this one to the new configuration. And I'm going to edit it, to modify. And now let me replace all occurrences of WordPress 3 with WordPress 4. It's this one, Ctrl/replace. Yes, yes. Okay, done. But we also have to make another small modification here, because for the previous container we were using the port 8083, but now we are using the port 8084. So we should not forget to modify this one as well. Control save. And I have to link this to the sites enabled. It is done. And now let me check the configuration of Nginx. Test the configuration. Test failed because the certificate file does not exist. So we also have to get a certificate for this domain. Domain is WordPress 4.user1.fs.al. So I am defining this variable, this shell variable or environment variable, and let me define another one, email. And then let me try to get a certificate. Set bot, set only, W, and the domains for which we will get the certificate are the variable domain that we defined here, and also So I'm using these variables. Dry run was successful, and now I can remove this option dry run, and instead I can use the option M for the email and agree terms of service. List of certificates, and we see that we have the certificate of for this domain, and it is on this path and this one. So let us check again the configuration of nginx test. Now the syntax is okay, and we can reload the configuration. System control reload nginx, and now we can access in the browser this domain. We are starting the installation wizard of WordPress. Next. Site title, WordPress 4, username, admin, the password is okay, email, install. Login, because I saved the password, now it is filled automatically. And I am inside the WordPress. So now we are running also another WordPress site, but so we have two Docker containers, one for each WordPress site, but actually we have only one database container for MariaDB. And also we are running nginx as a web proxy, but not this one. This is welcome to Docker. This is from previous examples. So actually I can stop and remove this container. Remove docker remove nginx. I can also stop sshd, but it is okay, it is fine. It can be fine. And now let's see how to maintain the websites, the WordPress websites which we installed with Docker. First of all, we can have a look at the logs with Docker logs. These are the logs of the MariaDB. And if I make a refresh here, for example, it is not accessing anything on the database. Okay, anyway. We can also look at the logs of WordPress container. And if I make a refresh here, for example, we see some other lines. So this is my IP actually, and this one too. So this is how we can check the logs of WordPress. And when we installed with packages, when we installed WordPress with packages, we used the command WordPress CLI to make backup, restore, update, upgrade, etc. We can do the same with Dockers, but we have to run a separate Docker container. This is how this container is built. We are using the official WordPress container, and the official WordPress container also includes this command, but it has to be executed in a separate Docker container. So let's build another script. Let's create another script here for WordPress CLI. So let me copy this. Oops. Change mode +X, WordPress CLI. And let's have a look at this script before trying it. So again, we are defining the variables for the database connection, the database host. This is the host inside the Docker network. So with this name, we can access the database inside the Docker network because we have used this as an alias when we defined the database container. And then Docker run, it is just starting one container, running a command, and then stopping it. So this Docker run is equivalent to Docker create and Docker start. It does both of them at the same time, creates or defines a container, and then starts it. This container is using the same base image, the same Docker image as the WordPress containers, but actually it is not exactly the same because it is the tag CLI. It has the tag CLI. So actually this is another image. And this image includes the command WordPress CLI inside. And inside the container, it is running, the commands inside the container are running as user 33. This is a specific of how this container is built. It has to be run as user 33, which is the worldwide web data, which is the Apache 2 user, I think. And then there is this option volumes from WordPress 4. And this volume is mounting the same directories that this container is mounting. So what are the directories that the container WordPress 4 is mounting? It is this directory. So only this directory is mounted inside the WordPress 4 container. And this container that we are running here is also mounting the same directories. So it is mounting the directory www that contains the WordPress files, WordPress application files. It also contains the configuration file, which has the database configuration, etc. And the network is the same network as the container WordPress 4. So it is connecting to the same network as this container. It also has some environment variables for the database connection. And the commands are so are being executed in the directory temporary. And this thing at the end, after the image, this is including all the arguments of this script. So if we are passing some arguments to this script, all these arguments are being appended after this WordPress, after the name of the image. Which means that whatever we type as arguments after this script will be executed as commands inside this container. So let's try to run this. Now this option or argument is being appended as an argument to the Docker container that is being executed from this script. It is downloading the image. It is another image actually. It is not the same image as the WordPress image. That one was WordPress latest. This is a WordPress CLI. It is a different image. But anyway, we see that it is running the command WordPress CLI with the options that we are giving it. Now we are giving the option -- help, and so it is displaying the help for this command. Now let me run it with subcommand user and then list. This should list the users inside the WordPress 4 container, and there is only one user actually. So we can use this script to run WordPress CLI commands inside this WordPress installation, and we need it, for example, when we make a backup. So let's see how to make a backup of this container. Actually, this script is created into the home directory of root of the user. So it is this one, WordPress 4 backup. So first of all, we stop the reverse proxy nginx before making the backup, and then we start it after making the backup, so that the backup does not happen at the same time that things are being modified in the database, etc. And then we go to the directory var docker WordPress 4. Inside this directory there is this script that we created, and we run this script with the subcommand database export, and export it to the file db.sql. Then we go one directory above, and then we create an archive file of the directory WordPress 4. And then we move this archive to the home directory of the user. And these are the backup steps. So let's try it. And I have this file, WordPress 4, and this is the timestamp for today. 20 February. So let's have a look, for example, at the table of contents of this archive file. tar let me try with less. It has included all the content of this directory, including the scripts and also the directory www. And inside this directory, we also have this file db.sql that was created by the database backup command, database export, db export. Now, let's try to restore this backup. But before restoring, we should destroy or we should remove the existing site, WordPress 4 site. And let's use this script to remove it. Change mode +X. Nano. So we stop the container, remove it, and then we remove the directory www WordPress 4. And then the rest is that we are also removing the database from the database container. So these are the database connection settings: database name, database user, database password. This is the name of the database container. And then we are running a command into the MariaDB inside the container. We are sending commands to MariaDB inside the container, and we are sending them with the command cat and piping these commands to MariaDB. And the commands that we are sending are revoke all privileges, grant option. So first of all, revoking privileges, and then drop user, and then drop database. So this is destroying also the database. Let's try it. But before removing, let me make sure that the website is working. So now it is working, and I'm removing it. And if I try to access that gateway, it does not exist. Oops. And if I try to check the list of databases, I will see that the database is removed. Docker exec. MariaDB. So I'm running command MariaDB inside this container, and I'm getting the database prompt here, MariaDB prompt. I see that the database WordPress 4 DB has been removed as well. Now we want to restore, and we can use the script to restore, but we can also do it manually. So let's go to the directory var var docker. This directory was removed, WordPress 4, but we can recreate it by extracting the archive. WordPress 4. So this is the archive file that was backupped, that was created from the backup script. And we can extract it, and it will create this directory. Now, inside this directory, we have all these scripts to initialize the database, to create the container, and this script. And also, we have this directory with the content of the application, WordPress application. So, WordPress application files. So, first we start by initializing the database. And it is going to create the database and the user. And next, we create the container. The container itself. And now we have to start this container. It is running, and if we look inside this directory, we see that we have the database backup here. So we can use this backup to restore the content of the database. And how do we restore it? By using this script, WordPress command line. WordPress command line, database, import, and the file actually not this one. We just write db.sql. Why? Because this command is being executed inside this directory. So inside the container, this command is being executed in this directory, and in this directory, the path of the backup file is this one, db.sql. db not found. Actually, after starting the container, we have to initialize it before making the restore. Before making the restore, we have to run the installation wizard, I think. So let's try it again. And continue. And then I will use something different, because when we do the restore, this will be overridden. So it doesn't matter what, just to initialize the database, I think. Let me try this command again. and now it is imported. And after the database is restored, we can refresh the website and see that it is the old content back again. So now this site is named WordPress 4. So we completely restored the WordPress site. Now let's see how to update this WordPress site. First of all, we should stop the reverse proxy. System control, stop, nginx, and then using this WordPress CLI, which runs which is being executed inside this website, WordPress CLI, we see what is the installed version of WordPress, and then we can update. It is actually up to date, and then update DB. At the latest version, and we can also update plugins. Plugin update all are up to date, and also we can update the themes. All of them are up to date. And finally, we can flush the cache or erase the cache. And start nginx. System control, start nginx. The site actually was the latest version, so nothing was updated. But this update that we performed above just updates the content of the directory www, which is the application files, and it also may update the structure of the database. If there are some updates, it may update the structure of the database as well. But the container that we are running maybe needs to be updated as well, time after time. So let's see how to update the container itself. We are using this base image, WordPress latest. So let's see if there is another version for this image. Actually, it is up to date, but sometimes this image is updated as well, so we can get a new version for this image. And in this case, we can rebuild the container like this. First, we stop the container that is running currently, and then we remove it. Remove the container WordPress 4. And then we create the container again using this script. And we see that including the Docker command inside the script is very useful if we have to redo this command again, because time after time we have to write the same command. If we write it manually, it is a long command with lots of options and arguments, and maybe we can make some mistakes, or maybe we don't do it exactly as the first time. So we actually write the command inside a script, and then we can call the script, we can execute the script. So I'm creating the same container again, but now this container is going to use the latest version of this image. So the container was created, and then after creating the container, I also have to start it. And now this has updated the container itself. And the container itself, the application files are outside the container. So the application files are on the host, on the directory www. So updating the content of the container does not, so we deleted the container and created it again. But this does not touch the application files, because the application files are not stored inside the container. The application files are stored in a directory mounted from the host, which is this directory. So this is one of the benefits of mounting the application files outside the container in the host. So we can delete and create again the container itself, and the application files will still be the same, because they are not stored inside the container. And the database itself is not stored inside the container, it is stored in another container, in the container db1. So both the files of the application and the database of the application are not touched by are not destroyed when we destroy the container. So we destroy the container and we create it again, and the application should still be the same. Now we will start with installing a Nextcloud application with a container inside the container, and Nextcloud is using the Postgres SQL database. So we are going to create a separate container for the Postgres database and another container for the Nextcloud. And these two containers need to communicate with each other. So we are going to create a Docker network where these two containers will be connected so that they can communicate with each other. And again, we are going to use Nginx as a reverse proxy in order to access the site inside this container. So let's start by creating another Docker network. So this is the list of the current networks. This is the network that we used for the WordPress containers. So both WordPress containers and the MariaDB container are connected into this network. But let's create another network for the Nextcloud container and application. Docker network create. Nextcloud network. Now we see this network here that we just created, and inspect. Now this is using a different subnet. The other one was using 18, 172.18.0.0. This is using 19. So WordPress net. It is using another subnet. So both of these are virtual networks, and Docker containers connect to this or to this according to the options that we give to the command that creates the container. Now, in order to build a Postgres container, we need an image for this container, and we are going to use a ready image. So we are not going to build the image itself ourselves, but we are not going to build ourselves the image, but we are going to download it from the Docker Hub. Actually, I made a mistake here in this command. Let me try it again. Okay. The first one is the official image. So we are using the first image here. So this Docker pull is pulling the official image. And there are different tags for different versions of Postgres. So these are, if I use, for example, 16, I'm going to download the image that has WordPress 16 installed inside, but we downloaded the image with tag 17, which means that Postgres 17 is installed inside this image. So this is the image that we are using. It is the official image. And if we look at the tags, for example, it has a lot of versions. Some of them are based on Alpine based systems, some of them are based on Debian, and this is tag 14, for example, for version 14. And somewhere there should be the tag 17. But we need to use we are using the version 17 of Postgres. So we pulled this image. it is here, this image here. And let's look at the history of this image. So the command inside the container will be Postgres. The port that is exposed is this one, which is the port of the PostgreSQL. It is sharing, or it is mounting this directory with the host system. The version that is installed is the version 17. Oops. And actually it is based on Debian, I think, this image. Now let's create another directory for this container. Postgres 1. And now we will use a script to create the container. So we are creating a directory named data, and then here we create a container with name pg1. The host name inside the container will be PostgreSQL, and this container will be connected to the network NCNet. We can access this container from other containers with the name pg1. Actually, it is the same as the name here, so even if I don't use this option, it still can be accessed with the name pg1 from other containers. So if I make, for example, ping pg1 from another container, then it is going to ping to the IP. This will be resolved to the IP of this container. And we are mounting the directory data that we created here to the directory var lib PostgreSQL data inside the container. And also we are defining this environment variable Postgres password, which is the password defined here. And we can use this password to access the database. And let me also modify the image here, because we use the version 17 of Postgres. The container has been created, but let's start it. Now it is running. Docker log pg1. Let's look at the logs of this container. Docker logs. Initialization process complete, ready for startup. and then start in PostgreSQL. Database system is ready to accept connection. So everything looks fine. It is running okay. If we see inside this directory, it actually contains the content of the databases, of the PostgreSQL databases. Now let me get a shell inside this container. Inside this container, docker exec interactive pg1 bash. And actually, let me also check the version of Linux installed in this container. So it is based on Debian. So this container is based on Debian, not Alpine, for example. And now let me run some PSQL commands inside the Postgres database. Docker exec interactive run as user Postgres. This is the name of the container, pg1. PSQL is the command. So I'm running inside this container. The name of the container is pg1. I'm running the command PSQL. I'm executing the command PSQL. But actually, I'm executing it as user Postgres, because if I don't use this option, -u Postgres, then it is going to be executed as user root. And it is not going to work, because Postgres in Debian is installed with its own user, with user Postgres. So we have to use this option -u Postgres to run this command as user Postgres inside this container. And now I'm getting this prompt, this shell from the database. List of databases. We have these two default databases, I think, or three of them. And then quit. And now let's also create a small script for running PSQL commands. So running PSQL commands like this all the time is not convenient. So let's create a script for running PSQL commands. Change mod +x PSQL. So it is basically the command that we used before, but now we are appending all the arguments of this script. So if this script is called with some arguments, with some options and arguments, they are going to be passed as arguments to this command. So let's test this script. PSQL -c. This is a basic SQL command. So we are running this command with PSQL inside the database. If we don't use any arguments at all, then we just get a shell in the database. Let's stop here and continue tomorrow with the installation of Nextcloud.